Hello everyone and welcome to the Erik Bryant Show. This is episode number 13 and I'm coming to you today to talk about baseball. Maybe about a month ago I talked about my predictions for baseball, who I thought would win the divisions and the wild card spots as well, and I'm going to go back on that, talk more, and see if I've changed my opinion, changed my mind on some of them. A few of the teams I have actually changed it as the season has went on. We're about 3 weeks away from the postseason, and a few things have changed from before when I talked. First of all, not about baseball, kind of off the subject, but one thing that has changed is, as you can take a look at my new haircut. Doesn't have to do anything to it. I actually like it, and my wife is getting used to it. She likes it and everything. That's all that really matters. Guys know what I'm talking about. As long as you please your woman, she's pleased with whatever you do. That's all that really matters. But anyway, to get to baseball first, when the show before talking about baseball, the teams that I had winning the division were the Nationals, the Reds, and the Dodgers. The two wild card teams I had were the Braves and the Giants. One of those is going to change. I still see the Reds big lead in that division. I don't see them blowing that with about 17 or 18 games left to play, so the Reds will win the Central. The Nationals have lost 2 in a row to the Braves. That lead at 5.5 games. Even with Strasburg sat down, and I will discuss that in a moment, my thoughts on that. I think the Nationals have enough for the last 17 games to hold on to a 5.5 game lead, so I believe they will win the National League East. And the National League West, I don't see the Dodgers winning that thing anymore. The Giants, 7.5 games up. The Giants have really surged, played well, and I see the Giants making the playoffs, like I said before, but instead of a wild card spot, I see them winning that division. I had, as I said, the Braves and the Giants as the two wild card teams in the National League. I'm still sticking with the Braves. They got that #1 wild card, and I think they will hold on to that. The second team is going to be a toss-up, I believe, between the Cardinals, who right now hold that thing, and the Dodgers by a game. Part of me wants to say that the Cardinals will do it, go in there and try and defend their World Series championship. I think they'll hold on, have just enough to get in there. Another part of me, the Dodgers being only 1 game back, and the payroll that the money that they have spent to bring in guys like Hanley Ramirez, Adrian Gonzalez, Josh Beckett, Carl Crawford. It'd almost be crazy if they didn't get into the postseason, at least into that wild card spot, the second spot, to have that 1 game playoff with the Braves, who would be I believe will be the first wild card. So I'm not really sure about that. And then you got the Phillies creeping up there, just 3 games back. But really, honestly, I think the Phillies have gutted their team a little bit too much. I don't see them getting in there. Of course, the last couple years, you've had teams who got in on the last day. The Giants and the Cardinals got on the hot streak, went all the way to the World Series and won it. So it could happen for the Phillies getting in on the last day, but I just don't see it happening. I'm gonna have to say I'll go with the Dodgers, even though their pitching staff, even with Beckett and Blanton, who they picked up, doesn't really impress me. I think the Dodgers will make it into that playoff spot. I don't see them beating the Braves in that 1 game playoff. But I think the Dodgers will get in. Just too much talent, too much money there to not get into the playoffs, even though the Cardinals doing what they've been doing in the postseason, just like last year, hanging around, trying to wait, or trying to stay in it for that last couple games, and kind of steal a spot like they did from the Braves last year. And with this being the second wild card opening, even a better chance for the Cards to sneak on in at the end. I'm going to go with the Dodgers, though. I'm going to say get 2 teams in from the National League West. Giants winning the division, Dodgers winning a wild card. In the American League, the divisions, I have the Yankees win that division because at the time they were 7 games ahead They once had a 10-game lead in that division. I had the Yankees, the Tigers, who were actually back 2 games at the time, and I had the Rangers winning because they're ahead of their division by a pretty good margin. The 2 wild card teams I had were the White Sox and the Angels. The American League for me has switched up a lot. The Yankees and Orioles. The Yankees a half game ahead right now because the Orioles are yet to play. They play tonight against Oakland. But the Yankees just a half game ahead because of the experience of who they are. The Yankees, that all-star lineup they have, I'm going to stick with them, say they're going to win that division because on paper, sorry Baltimore fans, but you look at the lineup, you look at the pitching staff and everything, and the Orioles should be nowhere near the division lead. They should be 7, 8 games out in my opinion. But that's why the game is played on the field. They've been having a great chemistry, been playing well as a team. I'd like to see the Orioles actually win because they haven't done it since 1997, and I like cheering for the underdog. I mean, hey, I'm a Chicago Cubs fan, for God's sake. But I think the Yankees will win that division. I also am a White Sox fan. I would love to see the White Sox hold on to this 1-game lead, but there's just, like I said before in the last one, just something telling me the Tigers are going to pull that thing out. The hitting that they have, the pitching with Verlander, Valverde on the back end and the bullpen. The White Sox, I mean, they have talent, they have good hitters, they have good pitching as well, but I just see the Tigers etching that thing out. The White Sox still have to play the Royals, who they just can't seem to beat. I'm not saying the Tigers are going to beat them by a lot, maybe a game or 2, but I think the Tigers will still get in, even though I would like to see the White Sox do it. Nothing changed for me in the West. The Texas Rangers will win that one, I believe. Anaheim and the White Sox were the 2 teams I had. The only problem with that is with the White Sox or the Tigers, whoever doesn't win right now, they're 4.5, 5 games out of the wild card. I don't see them making up that much ground. I don't think the Rays will get in there. Baltimore is really surprised. Oakland's surprising as well. Anaheim creeping around. They're still in it. Again, with the whole payroll thing with Anaheim, the talent they have, a lot of people saying they have the best roster in baseball. And going out to get Zach Greinke really helped that pitching staff. Already adding him to Weaver, their number 1 pitcher. And then you got guys like Pujols, Trout, Trumbo hitting. So I think talent-wise, the Angels, I think a game and a half out right now in that wild card. I say they will get in and play that wild card, that 1-game playoff. And I'm going to say the Orioles will be the other team. I don't see Oakland getting in. I'd like to see the A's. They haven't been in there in a while. It's another small market team fighting. And Oakland right now is in there, and I believe does have the first wild card. The only reason I see Oakland not making it in, and again, I don't think they'll miss it by a big margin, maybe a game or 2, but their schedule out of the playoff teams in the American League is the toughest. They still play the Angels again. They have the Rangers, the Tigers, the White Sox. So I don't really see Oakland getting in, but again, cheering for the underdog, I would love to see it happen, but I just don't see it. I think the Orioles and the Angels will get in and play that 1-game playoff. If you ask me who I thought would make it to the World Series and perhaps win it, one team that I thought was a real big front runner would have been the Washington Nationals. But the Nationals are, I think, hurt their chances a lot when Mike Rizzo decided to sit down Steven Strasburg for the rest of the season. I talked about this before. I said if it were to happen, it would be a dumb idea, a bad mistake. And hold on one second. And sorry about that. And I believe that it still was very bad. They sat him down. Davey Johnson, the manager of the Nationals, said that it was more of a mental thing than a physical thing for Strasburg, because in his last outing that he pitched for the season, he only lasted 3 innings, and they said his head did not look in the ball game, and it doesn't look like or feel like he was in the ball game very much. But I don't know. Then can the Nationals win it? I mean, without Strasburg, I don't know. They're going to have to get on a hot run. The hitters are going to have to do what they need to do. The pitching staff's going to have to step up in his absence. They've been able to keep the lead that they have right now in the National League East from 7.5 to when he went out to 5.5 right now. The only problem is when you get into the playoffs, you're going to be playing teams like the Braves, the or perhaps teams like the Braves, the Cardinals, the Dodgers, teams like the Giants, the Reds, that are the best in the National League. You're not playing the Padres or the Rockies or the Cubs or, teams that are down low, the Astros at the bottom of the division, where you can easily, walk into the stadium and pretty much win 2 out of 3 from those teams. You're going to have teams that are going to be trying to compete and that are good teams that are going to win that are there because they have won for the majority of the season, so it's going to be tough. I actually posted a question on Facebook, can the Nats win with Strasburg shut down? And got 2 responses from that. One said yes, they get quality starts from Gio Gonzalez, Jordan Zimmerman step up, Edwin Jackson, who has been numbers-wise a pretty good postseason pitcher in the past. Did a good job last year with the World Series champion, the St. Louis Cardinals, and then Ross Detweiler or perhaps John Lennon would have to step up in the 5th spot. The other comment I got was saying that they didn't understand why Strasburg innings pitch wasn't monitored at the beginning of the season. The first couple of months you could have had him go just 5 or 6 innings and then stretch it out maybe over the course of time, have him going 7. But he pitched a lot of innings, I think, in the early part of the season. A lot of those games he went 7, 8 innings early on in April and May into June, and or into June and July. And I think I actually agree with that comment. I think they should have monitored him, a little bit more in the beginning, because then if you would have cut him a little bit in the beginning, maybe even skip a start or 2 there early in the season, then maybe now he'd only have around 120, 130 innings pitched. You'd have him in there for the end of the year. And like right now, when you have a 6 or 7 game lead, 5.5, you can go ahead and maybe skip his last start or 2 and then have him fresh for the postseason and ready. I just believe that Mike Rizzo, the GM, handled the situation wrong. I think the whole thing was handled badly. They said that Strasburg was very disappointed that he was not going to be able to be in there. And I mean, I would be too. You're sitting the guy out to try to make his career longer. But who's to say, like I said before, he doesn't go out and mess his arm up? I hope he doesn't. I like Strasburg. He's one of the best pitchers, in my opinion, in the game right now. But there's no guarantee that by sitting him out, he won't get injured in some other way next season or down the line. And then sitting him out was kind of pointless, especially if you don't do what you want to do right now and what these national fans want to see, and that's go all the way to the World Series and win it. They've never, as their other franchise, the Montreal Expos, have never even made it to the World Series. And when you got a shot now to get into the playoffs and, really get in deep with Strasburg and Gonzalez, a great 1-2 punch there, as your rotate at the beginning of your rotation. A lot of fans disappointed and upset that Strasburg sat, and I'm pretty sure he is too. He doesn't want to be on the sidelines in late October and in September watching his team play. He wants to be out there. But and the fact of the matter is he won't be, because they've shut him down. And that was the question: can they win? And I think they can, but it's going to take a lot from the other pitchers in the rotation as well as the bullpen and those young guys like Harper and Desmond, and then the guys like Wirth and Zimmerman to step up and hit the ball. So it'll be interesting to see. But we'll be back with part 2, talk a little more baseball as well as maybe a little few other things. We'll be back.